Almost all major bridges destroyed in Kherson region by HIMARS strikes. In Kherson region, HIMARS missiles launched by the Ukrainian military destroyed almost all large bridges, leaving only pedestrian crossings intact. That's according to the Kakhovka Military Operations Group, Ukrinform reports. Well, what can be said here? The situation in the temporarily occupied territory of Kherson region is extremely difficult. The big and terrible HIMARS destroyed almost all the big bridges, the report says. It is noted that only pedestrian crossings remained intact. The Russian army is thus cut off from arms and personnel supply from the territory of Crimea. For Ukraine, this is a brilliant chance to regain its territories, notes the report. As Ukrinform reported earlier, the Ukrainian army has been steadily inflicting fire damage to the routes of movement, as well as clusters of Russian manpower and equipment in Kherson region. In Kherson, a Russian military base was struck by Ukrainian forces overnight Monday. Satellite image appears to show key bridge damaged in Ukraine HIMARS strike. A satellite image has emerged which appears to show damage to a key bridge used by Russian troops during its invasion of Ukraine. The Antonovsky Bridge, which crosses the vast Dnipro River and is one of the only ways to travel into the southern Ukrainian territory in Kherson, was reportedly hit with missiles from the U.S. supplied HIMARS, High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, on Friday, August 26. The bridge serves as a crucial route to supply Russian troops stationed in Kherson, as well as transport military equipment and artillery into the conflict zones. The Flash Twitter account, which frequently posts images and videos detailing the war between Russia and Ukraine, shared an image appearing to show the damage caused to the bridge following Friday's attack. The image, which has been widely shared on Twitter, appears to have come from the commercial satellite imagery company Planet. Footage also appeared on Friday reportedly showing Ukraine carrying out targeted attacks on the bridge. Kherson became the first major Ukraine city to be overtaken by Russia amid the invasion, and since then the Antonovsky Bridge has come under repeated attack by Ukraine since July 19. Officials said that the Antonovsky Bridge, as well as the Kakhovka Bridge, were targeted in missile attacks on Wednesday, August 24, which coincided with Ukraine's Independence Day. Kirill Stromosov, deputy head of the Russian-backed Kherson Military Civilian Administration, said that Antonovsky Bridge was hit by HIMARS missile attacks, but downplayed the damage. There was an attempt to shell, a couple of holes were added, but the bridge was intact, the air defense worked. HIMARS again, Stromosov told the TASS news agency. The crucial Antonovsky Bridge was also reported to have been targeted in a missile strike in late July, along with two other bridges connecting Kherson. The UK's Ministry of Defence said that the July 27 attack from Ukraine likely left the Antonovsky Bridge unusable. The MOD said Kherson would be virtually cut off from the other occupied territories, and that losing control of the city would severely undermine Russia's attempts to paint the occupation as a success. In an August 23 update, the MOD said that Russia has started relying on ferry crossings to reach Kherson and have also begun building a substantial floating bridge to replace the damaged or destroyed bridges into the city. The MOD said any new bridge would be vulnerable to military action from Ukraine. Newsweek has contacted the Russian and Ukraine Ministry of Defenses for comment. Why Crimea matters: Ukrainian attacks are frightening Russian tourists and forcing Russia's army to change tactics. At least two things were striking about one of the first videos that emerged of an attack on Russia's Saki air base in Crimea on August 9. One was the size of the mushroom cloud in the background. The other was the sight of clearly alarmed Russian tourists in bathing suits and beach wraps scattering from their cabanas. The first attests to Ukraine's demonstrated ability to strike targets deep behind Russian lines. The second shows the degree to which Crimea, the peninsula that Russia annexed in 2014, has been cut off from the war raging just a few miles away, and the sense of calm and security that has prevailed there. That calm has now been shattered. It started in a relatively small way last month, when a Ukrainian drone flew into the courtyard of the Russian Black Sea Fleet's headquarters in the Crimean city of Sevastopol, injuring 5 people and forcing the cancellation of Navy Day celebrations. Russian beachgoers might have kept to their routines. Things escalated sharply with the strike on Saki 9 days later, which the Ukrainian military said destroyed 9 Russian aircraft. Moscow denied any planes had been destroyed and blamed the explosion on an accidental ammunition detonation, an explanation that prompted much online mockery. Satellite imagery showed destroyed planes and significant damage to the airfield. According to Western officials quoted by Reuters, the strike on Saki may have knocked out half the Black Sea Fleet's combat aircraft. The Russian military wasn't particularly known for naval aviation to begin with, and that toll would represent a small proportion of total Russian air power, but it could have an impact on Russia's ability to project power in the Black Sea and southern Ukraine. A week after the Saki strike, an ammunition depot in Crimea exploded, this time the Russian Defense Ministry blamed an act of sabotage. That same day, there was an explosion at a different air base. The attacks have continued, including a second drone strike on the fleet headquarters on August 20. While Crimea is still not seeing anywhere near the level of violence visited on eastern or southern Ukraine, the strikes deep in the heart of a place that has been safely in Russian hands for 8 years are creating difficult military and political challenges for the Kremlin. They are also raising questions about just how far Ukraine will be able to push its campaign to recover territory it lost to Russia, nearly a decade ago. This Russian war began with Crimea and must end with Crimea, with its liberation, President Volodymyr Zelensky said this week. He was referring not to this year's invasion but to the longer conflict between the two countries that began in 2014. That year, in the chaos that followed the ouster of Russian-backed President Viktor Yanukovych amid mass protests in Kiev, Russian special forces executed a nearly unopposed operation to seize control of the peninsula. After a referendum dismissed by Ukraine and most international observers as a sham, Russia formally annexed the peninsula. And while all but a small handful of the world's governments still recognize it as Ukrainian territory, there was no forceful global response. Russia has held Crimea without difficulty for 8 years. Crimea matters for historical reasons as well. As a predominantly Russian-speaking region that was transferred to Ukrainian jurisdiction only in 1954, at a time when both countries were part of the Soviet Union, Crimea has featured as Exhibit A in Russian President Vladimir Putin's argument that rightfully Russian territories were severed from the homeland after communism's collapse. Owing to Sevastopol's strategic location, Russia's Black Sea Fleet has been based there since the 18th century. And Crimea is the site where the 10th-century ruler Prince Vladimir, venerated as a saint in both Russia and Ukraine, was baptized into Christianity. As such, the peninsula also plays a significant role in the historical and religious narratives propagated by Putin's government. The president has even described Crimea as Holy Land.